Big scare. One person died in Midtown Manhattan today.
Yes. Oh,
yeah, a helicopter crashed on top of a building on 7th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, killing the pilot, starting a fire, halting traffic in all of Midtown. Governor Andrew Cuomo said that the preliminary information indicated that the helicopter was making an emergency landing. He did not know why. When the helicopter was making an emergency landing on the roof of the building. Now, helicopters are no longer allowed to land on roofs and buildings, but this particular building was an old building that had an old helicopter pad on it. So I guess the pilot, when he was flying over Manhattan, was unable to, I guess, get control. So he saw this building that had a helicopter, so he tried to pad and he tried to land on it. It was a hard landing. The helicopter blew up in flames. The pilot unfortunately died. I don't know if there were other people in the helicopter or it was him alone. It was just him alone. Yeah. And it is not a terrorist attack. People thought it was a terrorist attack. Right. And Andrew Cuomo said if you are a New Yorker, you have a high level of post-traumatic stress disorder from 9/11. I remember the morning all too well. So people thought perhaps it was a terrorist attack, that somebody was trying to fly a helicopter into a building. Wow. Unfortunately, there was that death. I don't understand why helicopters would be allowed to fly over Midtown Manhattan. You want to do sightseeing tours, you can go along the river. Right. And if you have to make an emergency landing, you land in the river. On the river. Right.
So you are actually no longer allowed,
why was this helicopter?
He was somebody that said that when they saw it take off, there are heliports a couple blocks over on the west side, and somebody said that when they saw that helicopter take off, he was veering a lot, so it didn't seem like he got the control. He didn't have control of the helicopter. Now, I took a lot of helicopters when I was in Vietnam and Cambodia. I kept getting on the helicopter. And I said to Ida, I said, "That's scary. Is this safe? You think?" And she's like, "Yeah, don't worry." But so I was fine. But every time now? How you feel? Yeah, but now I'm like, you come back to America, you're like, helicopters are crashing in New York City. 100%.
You would think it would be safer here, right? Yeah. But I guess not.
Well, and we had talked about that helicopter tour last year, where several people died. It crashed in the Hudson, and several people died. So it's scary.
But they would have survived. But for that, their harness that was strapped in, they were unable to get out of their harness.
Yeah.
They had harnesses that they weren't able to get out of.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump is back in Washington, D.C., and he's celebrating his great success on these border policies with Mexico.
Right.
He was going to tariff every Mexican product that came into America 5% in June, 10% in July, until the Mexicans got tough on immigration.
Right.
And what he wanted the Mexicans to do is to put an army on the southern border of Mexico, between Mexico and Central America, prevent Central Americans from even entering in Mexico. And he also wanted Mexico to accept back any asylum seekers that were trying to apply for asylum in the United States, that Mexico should absorb them first.
Right.
Mexico, according to Donald Trump, agreed to all of this. And it was a great success. He made Mexico blink. It was high drama negotiations, except the New York Times already has reported that Mexico and the United States already agreed to all of this more than a year ago.
Of course.
So Donald Trump basically, again, made a crisis.
Right.
Went and had a conversation, claimed he fixed the crisis when there was never a crisis and nothing fixed to begin with. Similar to North Korea, when he made the crisis with Rocket Man, and then he went and met Rocket Man, said, I have an agreement, we can all sleep well at night, yet there's no agreement and everything is still the same. Hashtag false news. Now Trump has disputed this hashtag false news from the New York Times. He calls them the enemy of the people. He says another false report in the New York Times. But the Mexican Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard agreed with the New York Times and said there was no secret immigration deal between the United States and Mexico. It was already agreed upon a long time ago.
That's amazing.
Now, if anybody remembers, Donald Trump has called the New York Times on a daily basis fake news.
Right, 100%.
And much of their news that he called fake, including a lot of their reporting on the Mueller report, turned out to be true.
Absolutely.
Okay, so every time he says fake news, New York Times, and attacks the New York Times, I tend to now believe the New York Times.
Right.
Because every time he has attacked the New York Times and said fake news, they're the enemy of the people, it turns out that they are the supporters of the people.
Absolutely.
They are the protectors of the people. So now Trump has put the U.S. military down on the border, right? And they're now protecting the border. They don't have as much to do as people think.
Okay.
So he's taking part of the military and he's now turning them into painting recruits.
What?
Painting recruits. That a lot of the recruits now, a lot of the enlisted men and women who are going down to protect the border are in essence taking paint cans and painting the southern wall between Mexico and the United States to improve the aesthetic appearance of the wall, according to an email sent by the Department of Homeland Security.
Oh my God.
Now, Senator Dick Durbin, an Illinois Democrat, confirmed the plan in a tweet this week. He said the Department of Homeland Security informed Congress today that troops are going to spend the next month painting the border wall, and the primary purpose is to improve the aesthetic appearance. A disgraceful misuse of taxpayers' dollars. Our military has more important work to do than making Donald Trump's wall beautiful.
Good for him. He's absolutely right.
Now, Donald Trump, when he's not building a beautiful wall and making the military paint it, has now prompted a state of confusion over Space Force and NASA.
What?
Yes, there's some confusion now. So he's very upset that about his own administration's plans to send astronauts to Mars and the Moon. He tweeted, "For all of the money we are spending, NASA should not be talking about going to the moon. We already did that 50 years ago. They should be focused on the much bigger things we are doing, going to Mars and space defense and science." The tweet had stargazers scratching their head as the moon is not part of Mars. And the tweet contradicted the president's previous statements about his plans to send humans back to the moon.
Including Mars, of which the moon is a part of?
Yes. Now, hours after Trump's tweet, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine, who has said that NASA already has plans to send people to a test flight around the moon by 2022, he sent out a tweet saying, at POTUS, at NASA is using the moon to send humans to Mars. Right now, at Mars Curiosity and at NASA InSight are on Mars and will soon be joined by the Mars 2020 rover.
Wow.
So basically, how it works is this. Okay? You got to get out of, you can't make a straight flight.
Yeah.
Okay? You gotta have a layover somewhere. Okay? You can't make a straight flight to
Mars.
Okay, you can't make a straight flight from New York to Hanoi, Vietnam.
Right.
Okay, impossible. Doesn't exist. Okay, there's no direct flight. And there's no direct flight from NASA to Mars.
Right.
You got to change planes on the moon. That's basic on the moon. So the plan is, Donald Trump, if you read your own administration's plans to reach Mars, right there, that's right.
That's the part.
That's during the layover. You got to colonize the moon,
right,
and then blast off from the moon to Mars, because I guess the Earth's gravity it's too far for the Earth's gravity to pull all the way up from the Earth all the way to Mars. So you got to change planes. But Donald Trump doesn't seem to know that. Or rockets.
Would you go to Mars?
I would not.
No?
I would not. I had a concern about going on a helicopter about 2 weeks ago. All right. I don't know if I would be going to Mars.
There's no way in hell that I would.
And it would be so much money. If you had that much money, like if you had $1 million to go on vacation, I just don't think I'd strap myself to a nuclear warhead and shoot myself off into space for that.
Belgium Kim, there's so many great places in the world that I haven't seen yet.
Exactly.
But if I had $1 million to go spend on a vacation and blow it for a year, I am going to see everything on this earth first.
And live like a king.
And live like a king.
$1 million to travel?
How do you think you would live in Mars? You're like, I can't breathe in this place.
My God.
Right. You ever go to like a really hot place?
Yes.
Okay, you're like, oh my God, I can't breathe. Where's the air conditioning, right?
You don't come back with a tan?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Where's the beach?
For it.
Yeah,
You're like, where's the beach on Mars, right?
What's the weather like out there?
What's the weather? It's cold.
Yeah,
Very,
like
very cold.
So what?
Like when it gets like you have to be like indoors and in a spacesuit. It's so cold, or you would freeze to death.
So Sunday's weather, if we guys
On
were,
Mars.
how was Sunday on Mars? They had a high of 2 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
With a low of 138 degrees below zero.
Yes, and apparently climate change is happening there as well.
Right.
Because last year it was 3 degrees.
Right.
And 101. So
right.
How are you supposed to have Sunday fun day with that type of weather?
Yeah, like what are you supposed
You can't.
Let me tell you what you do. You stay in bed, you stay under the covers, and you're like, babe, it's minus 107. I know we're on vacation, but you know what? Let's just make some Mars babies, right? Because that's all you can do.
That's the only thing you can do.
the only thing
and
you can
honestly,
do.
You can do that in your New York City apartment.
That's right. Or your apartment anywhere, and you can walk outside, right?
Right, you can go.
For all of those reasons, Belgium Kim,
We're not going
we
to
will
go.
not be going to Mars. For
Good
all
call,
of them.
team.
For all of them.
Sorry, guys.
This is a rational team, you
Yeah,
guys.
that's right.
This is a rational team.
Meanwhile, there are no rainbow flags that are going to fly at the U.S. embassies this year. You know, the rainbow flags celebrate
Really?
LGBTQ Pride Month. All 3 different diplomats have told NBC News. The U.S. embassies in Israel, Germany, Brazil, and Latvia are among those that have requested permission from Donald Trump's State Department to fly the LGBTQ Pride flags at their flagpoles. Donald Trump has denied them.
Wow.
This is now in direct contrast to the campaign Trump launched just 10 days ago to decriminalize homosexuality. As we celebrate overseas, I was about to say, since when is homosexuality illegal in America? Overseas.
Yeah.
So he tweeted 10 days ago, as we celebrate LGBT Pride Month and recognize the outstanding contributions LGBT people have made to our great nation, let us also stand in solidarity with the many LGBT people who live in dozens of countries worldwide that punish, imprison, or even execute individuals on the basis of their sexual orientation. My administration has launched a global campaign to decriminalize homosexuality and invite all nations to join us in this effort. The entire campaign was his tweet. He's done absolutely nothing else, including standing by the LGBT community by flying their flag in recognition of LGBTQ Pride Month.
That's not even a policy thing.
That's not even a policy. It's just like, he just tweets and doesn't do anything.
Right.
It's amazing.
Oh my God.
He just thinks if he tweets, it happens. It's like it's an alternative universe.
But then takes steps to go against exactly what he tweeted just 10 days ago.
I'm surprised.
Now, in a bizarre tweet.
Yeah.
All right, going to a little news here, a little entertainment news.
Ooh.
Did you see this, Yo-Yo?
What was
On
it?
Sunday, Justin Bieber challenged Tom Cruise to a fight in the octagon.
No.
And appeared to try and provoke the actor. The Biebs, he says in a tweet, I want to challenge Tom Cruise to a fight in the octagon. Tom, if you don't take this fight, you're scared and you will never live it down. Who's willing to put on the fight at Dana White? Now, the tweet went viral, and MMA fighter Conor McGregor announced that his company would host the fight and even challenged Mark Wahlberg on the same card. So McGregor wants to fight Wahlberg. Biebs wants to fight Tom Cruise. And Oddshark, which is a source for online handicapping, tweeted, "We don't like your odds, Biebs." And they put Bieber losing to Cruz 2-1, Cruz winning 2-1.
Oh my God!
Now I got a.
Who is that?
Yeah,
is that Bieber?
That's Bieber in the ring.
That's Bieber in the ring, just getting clobbered.
Yeah,
yes.
right.
Now I got somebody slid into my DM earlier today, and they said if they want to know if anybody from our show wanted to be on the undercard to this Cruz Biebs fight.
Right.
And they suggested Brad Yo-Yo, and I said, no. Brad and Yo-Yo not getting the octagon. Yo-Yo's twice my size.
Right.
Okay. Since I've lost 86 pounds, I'm 106 dripping wet.
It's a completely different weight class.
But what was suggested was that Brad and Belgium Kim in the octagon fighting to death. I said, that's a fair fight. That's a fair fight, right?
You with it?
That works because I'm actually 108 pounds soaking wet, so we're in the same weight class.
I think
I'm 100% in, Brad. Anytime you want, let's throw it out. We can get those big sumo suits. You know they're still in my Amazon cart.
Oh, you know, I'm still
we were
trying
supposed to fight in the sumo suit or something.
I'm still trying to do that.
Whatever, we forget all the things we were supposed to do.
No, they didn't share enough. They didn't earn it.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it was?
It just lingered in my cart for weeks.
Do you remember the times when we used to bribe people?
Yes.
All right. For those who were just watching new, like a year ago, we used to bribe people to share when we didn't have a lot of viewers.
Absolutely.
And we're like, share, and if you share, like Belgium Kim and Brad and Yo-Yo, we're all gonna get in the ring in big sumo inflatable suits and fight each other.
100%.
And we were like, and we said, if you get to 500 shares, we're gonna do it. Remember?
Right.
Yeah.
I was just gonna be the card girl.
That was gonna be so much fun.
Right, and then
I really wanted to do that too.
And then everybody was like, come on, we want to see this. Come on, we want to see this. The only thing that got people to share was me twerking.
Yeah,
right.
God.
That was the only thing that ever got people.
Other.
Nothing else.
And let me tell you, you really paid that debt, Brad.
Yeah.
You really paid that debt.
And finally, Yonathan and Belgium Kim, before we get to our immigration questions, it's reported by I don't know who's reporting this, but some economist, some economic outlet or newspaper is reporting that the marijuana industry is going to surpass the NFL in total revenue in 2020.
Wow.
Yes. Starting with Colorado, it is now legal in 37 states, although the federal government has not legalized it. In 2018, revenue from both legal, recreational, and medical marijuana in the United States was pegged at $8.6 billion to $10 billion in revenue.
Dang.
Now, in a bit of irony, sales at Taco Bell is $15 billion, and they suspect that marijuana will beat Taco Bell next year.
Wow.
So you can smoke your weed and then go to Taco Bell. So if more people are smoking weed, maybe Taco Bell's revenues are going to go through the roof.
That's a good point. It's going to stay on par. They're just going to keep going.
Yeah, can you imagine? Like, you know what? I'm going long on Taco Bell, right? Right? The more marijuana becomes legal, it's Taco Bell and White Castle. I'm going long on it.
It's true. Don't invest in the marijuana.
Right, you invest in everything else, in the munchies after. Right. Now, Jill whispered in my ear. It was from. Tell me what who made this report, Jill? Again, the marijuana who? The marijuana business fact check, whatever that is. It was from the marijuana business fact check. Now, according to the report, legal marijuana is going to create a $39 to $48 billion economy next year and will surpass $100 billion in 2023 in legal marijuana sales.
That's crazy.
Now, about 20% of adult Americans are using some form of marijuana. So at the moment, we have 225 people watching. At least 50 people are getting baked.
100%.
Who are watching right now. At least 50 of you out there right now, according to this report, are absolutely getting baked. And they're laughing their asses off watching us, right? They're laughing their asses off watching us.
But Brad, are they getting baked or are they helping the economy?
I don't know. I
got you, fam.
I don't know. But this is all going to surpass the revenue for the NFL.
Yeah, it's the Marijuana Business Fact Book from MJ Biz Daily.